we shall meet again before the conclusion of this drama. Then, you will learn of the history I will write for this world.
Albert Wesker was born to parents with superior intellectual genius. He and a dozen other children of the same caliber were collected and raised as components of the Wesker Child Project by the Umbrella Corporation and given the S.T.A.R.S name Wesker. He showed particular promise over the other children, which pleased Umbrella's founders, Oswald E. Spencer. Spencer saw in Wesker the makings of what his children needed. Obviously, but not coincidentally, Wesker would eventually go into the service of the same company that modeled him, and become close employees under the watchful eyes of his creator Spencer, all while unaware of the pharmaceutical president's true intentions and his origins. Wesker joined the internal pharmaceutical enterprise Umbrella at the age of 17 and began working as one of its researchers with William Birkin in 1977. Wesker was assigned to the Umbrella Research Center under Dr. James Marcus. Wesker became friends with and rivals fellow trainee William Birkin, becoming colleagues and accomplices for years to come. Both Wesker and Birkin were regarded by Marcus as his best apprentice and the only people he trusted. When the training facility was closed down, July 29, 1978, the two were personally transferred to the Arkley laboratory, becoming the facility's chief researchers. Upon their arrival to the laboratory, Wesker was handed a file from the facility president regarding the Ebola virus, which had been discovered 2 years earlier. The facility was to the outside world studying the samples of the Ebola virus for usage in creating a vaccine. In fact, Umbrella was researching into the impressive death rate for usage in its experimental T-virus, which was also being researched on the facility. Wesker and Birkin research of the T-virus lasted over 13 years and their different stages. In 1988, when its research reached its third stage, the creation of the Tyrant bioweapon, Wesker and Birkin were then ordered by Spencer to assassinate their former mentor, Marcus, and steal all of his research. Shortly after Birkin's research yielded the discovery of the G-virus in the body of Lisa Trevor, a longtime test subject of Wesker and Birkin's, while at the Arkley facility. When Spencer approved his project in 1991, Wesker began having doubts about Spencer's intentions and requested a transfer to Umbrella's Intelligence Bureau that same year. In 1996, Wesker joined the newly founded S.T.A.R.S division of Raccoon Police Department, where he worked as a double agent for Umbrella, giving information on any police investigations. During his time in the division, he also took note of Chris Redfield's abilities. 2 years after the formation of S.T.A.R.S, a series of cannibal homicides were reported near Arkley region. While the public feared these deaths were the work of a local cult, only Umbrella knew the truth. In an effort to control the public's outcry, S.T.A.R.S Bravo team was dispatched to a region to investigate the situation. Wesker used the time they were gone as an opportunity to gather battle data by putting the members of S.T.A.R.S against Umbrella's BOWs. In order to further ensure the Bravo team would be utilized as test subjects, he also arranged their transport chopper engine to be sabotaged. At the same time, Wesker and Birkin were ordered to reclaim Umbrella's training facility. Unfortunately, the resurrected Marcus destroyed any chance of reclaiming it. Forced to destroy the facility, Wesker realized this to be a perfect opportunity to leave Umbrella to pursue his own personal interests. By the following day, all contact with Bravo team was lost, and Wesker's Alpha team was dispatched to the site. Abandoned by their pilot Brad after the loss of their member Joseph, Wesker and the remaining members of Alpha team sought refuge in a nearby mansion where Wesker had previously worked. Ordering everyone to split up, Wesker disappeared and left the remaining members of Alpha team to fend for themselves. In order to ensure the downfall of the other members, Wesker used extortion in order to convince Barry to do his bidding, luring others to traps by threatening his family. When Enrico uncovered the evidence that implicated Wesker and Umbrella, Wesker murdered Enrico. However, Chris and Jill learned the truth about Wesker and then proceed to foil his plots by destroying the Tyrant along with the facility. During the chaos, Wesker injected himself with the prototype virus given to him by his partner, William Birkin. Allowing the tyrant to kill him, the virus reanimated his body after the room became empty, this giving him superhuman strength, agility, and regeneration, but at a severe cost of the loss of his humanity. The resulting mutation also gave him gold-red cat-like eyes, but these were not noticeable due to the sunglasses he always wore. He then tried to steal the data from the laboratory and escape. Wesker found Sergei had downloaded the data to the UMF-13, and the Red Queen had locked him from the mainframe. He swore revenge against the remaining S.T.A.R. members, Sergei and the Red Queen. His plans failed. Wesker resolved to escape the mansion before self-destruction time ended. Wesker was not expecting Lisa's arrival, believing the S.T.A.R.S members had disposed of her in Jessica's tomb. He managed to implicate the creature, saying, "Nobody's perfect, not even you, Lisa." With the combat data and bioweapon research data he acquired from the mansion, Wesker was able to secure a high-ranking employment position within one of Umbrella's mysterious opposing organizations, known only as the Third Organization. Still holding the illusion of his death, Wesker avoided showing himself, and instead took to being the contact between spies and the opposing organization. When Raccoon City suffered a T-virus outbreak, Wesker sent an agent by the name of Ada Wong to retrieve the G-virus sample in the unknowing possession of William's only daughter, Sherry Birkin. Hidden within her pendant, Ada managed to retrieve the sample, much to Wesker and the opposing organization's pleasure. After months of hiding in the shadows, Wesker and the HCF heavily armed assault force attacked Umbrella's facility, Roxford Island, intent to retrieve a sample of the T. Veronica virus by one of Umbrella's chief researchers, Alexia Ashford. The T virus was released in the process when the armed conflict with Umbrella guards took place. It was here Wesker encountered his former subordinate, Chris Redfield, who had arrived seeking his missing sister, Claire. Wesker failed to gain a sample of the virus from Alexia, especially when he tried to use his power to force her to surrender one, only to be driven back by Alexia's own abilities. Wesker then left Chris on his own to fight Alexia, and secured a sample of the virus from the retrieved corpse of Steve Burnside. The base started its self-destruction sequence, but Wesker engaged Chris in combat. Eager to settle a score, Wesker quickly used his immense strength and speed to gain dominance, with Chris refusing to allow Wesker an easy kill. Wesker was poised to deliver the finishing blow, only for an explosion caused the primary self-destruction to knock the flaming pillar between the two. Wesker vowing Chris was lucky the next time they meet. He couldn't count on his luck. 4 years later, in the year 2002, Wesker was later contacted by the leader of the South American drug cartel, Sacred Snake. Javar Heldgo, apparently a former researcher of Umbrella, supplied Javar with the T-virus in an attempt to save his wife, Helda Heldgo. Distressed results as his daughter, Manala Heldgo, had also contracted the same illness as her mother. He requested Wesker's help. Wesker supplied him with the T. Veronica virus in exchange for a large sum of money as well as a share in his dealings. He also gave specific instructions to utilize the T. Veronica virus. Mirroring the sample created by Alexia, he later saw the rest of the mutated carcasses of Javar Heldga from afar with his binoculars. 1 year later, in February 2003, Wesker infiltrated the Russian Umbrella facility around the same time as Chris and Jill, his former S.T.A.R.S subordinates, arrived for the purpose of destroying TALOS, Umbrella's final BOW, and bringing Umbrella to justice. He met and confronted Sergei in the control room. At the same time, Chris and Jill fought TALOS. While they managed to eliminate Umbrella's final BOW, Wesker himself managed to destroy and kill Sergei, who had mutated into a monster as a result of infecting himself with the T-virus. Wesker then took Umbrella's data from the Red Queen before deleting the computer's memory, shutting down the facility. With the Umbrella's archives in hand, Wesker operations center, having accessibilities to all of Umbrella's history files at his fingertips. Soon after the raid of the S.T.A.R.S facility, Wesker contacted TriCell, another pharmaceutical corporation, and with the wealth of information and resource collected from the Umbrella, allowed TriCell to establish a secret bioweapon division, for which Wesker was greatly compensated. He decided to secretly work with them, as they were another valuable asset, and began further independent activities of its founders. Wesker soon proved to be a problem for his organization's superiors. Wesker had always cherished a desire for power and domination over others, seeing Umbrella as a power incarnate used to hide behind while he made plans of his own. He established a secret organization of his own, using Umbrella's infrastructure to retrieve the S.T.A.R.S laboratory, and began recruiting agents such as Jack Kreiser into it. Wesker planned to go down the list of Umbrella's other top rival corporations, selling them samples of the Umbrella virus they desired, and finance his own personal empire. He would keep this agenda secret from his organization's superiors, though they were suspicious. Wesker began his plot with TriCell, disguised with the name S, who had been interested in acquiring a sample of the newly discovered Plaga parasite organism, preferably an advanced domination species of Plaga developed by Los Illuminati's cult leader Oswald Sadler. Wesker contacted TriCell and struck a deal, commissioned Ada Wong, his old partner, to once again aid the field portion of the operation while Wesker himself remained at his hideout. Wesker was apparently on a deadline to retrieve the sample and made it his and Ada's most important goal. He also sent Kreiser in to help Ada. Though they were at conflict, Kreiser thought that Ada would betray Wesker and said that neither of them trusted her, and Ada noted in her report that she wondered if Wesker had sent her to keep an eye on Kreiser. Nothing suggested which of the two Wesker trusted more, though he considered them both expendable pawns. Wesker made it important for Ada to watch over Lewis, but he was soon killed by Sadler, and the retrieved sample was lost. Wesker was not concerned, simply saying there'll be another time, and didn't pity Lewis. Wesker also saw Leon as an extra obstacle and ordered Ada to kill him. Though she insisted he was of no trouble, she was quite reluctant to carry out Wesker's orders, as she had formed a bond with Leon in Raccoon City. When Wesker later asked if she had gotten a chance to kill him, she lied and said the opportunity had not come. Wesker decided to let Leon live for the time being and allowed him to serve as a further distraction to Sadler's followers. He later informed Ada of the Illuminati panic due to Leon's actions and decided to have Kreiser kill Leon instead. Ada saved him, not playing by Wesker's rules. Ada later finds out that Kreiser survived the fight with Leon and kills him for good, making a wisecrack about how much paperwork she would have to fill out should Kreiser return alive. Ada later helped Leon destroy Sadler and stole the sample without killing him. Though Wesker may have been aware of this, it was revealed that Ada was not at all loyal to Wesker, but still to the organization. She sent him a mere subordinate Plaga sample on their order, and brought them the real sample. While disappointed but not entirely shocked by Ada's betrayal, Wesker managed to obtain a dead dominant species Plaga from Kreiser's corpse and began his own research, taking one big step forward to a new goal. At some point, he brought the subordinates and the dominant Plaga sample he required to TriCell, who began to use its genetic engineering to develop the evolved type. Wesker had built a vast array of wealth and resources and had obtained a sample of every known parasite and viral agent. However, Wesker's hunger for power did not allow him to be satisfied with material possession. In 2006, he discovered the whereabouts of Spencer, his European castle, from Ricardo Ivering, who had been told by Patrick, and arranged to meet with Wesker through Ada. Fully expected Spencer to be surprised by his arrival, but much to his shock, the old man seemed to actually expect Wesker to arrive. It was then Wesker realized that Spencer had been in control of everything from the start, including Wesker's own actions. Spencer revealed that the development of the BOWs was only a part of a achieving his goal and forcing human evolution through viruses. With the birth of a superhuman race, Spencer would make himself a god. Spencer required 3 things to accomplish his dream: the Paragnot virus as a primary viral base, the Umbrella Corporation for funds, and the people who would share his ideas when an advanced race came to be. Much to the surprise of Wesker, Spencer revealed Wesker to be the result of the third necessity. In a plan called the Wesker Plan, Spencer collected hundreds of children for parents of superior intellect throughout the world. These children were all given the serum name Wesker, after the project's chief researcher. Spencer used introduction and manipulation to install his values into these children. They were then put in controlled environments all over the world under Umbrella's watchful eyes. These unaware children would continue to live their lives and receive advanced educations with the help of Umbrella. One of these children was eventually sent to Umbrella training facility, was Albert Wesker. Spencer gave all the Wesker children prototype viruses, Albert being received through Birkin. However, all but one of Albert Wesker's siblings were killed due to the virus. Albert was the only one who was confirmed alive at that point in time, as the location of Alex Wesker was unknown, as he had betrayed Spencer. Unfortunately, knowing that the truth was revealed, the only thing impeding Wesker's assistance to goodhood was an old dying man. Wesker killed Spencer by thrusting his arm through his chest, claiming the right to be a god was now his. He then released his creator and allowed his body to topple over the bleeding onto the floor. He took down the corpse of Umbrella's founder and pronounced how arrogant Spencer had been for believing he, a weak old man, could be a god. Wesker declared that only one with the true capability of being a god could ever deserve that right. Wesker then stood at the window of Spencer's castle and further pondered this new revelation. Spencer's own arrogance manifested into Wesker himself, who decided to carry his former master's vision of shaping the world with a new and advanced race of humans. Wesker saw that the influence of the pharmaceutical corporation was not true power, insufficient to bring about the godly status he sought. Therefore discarded Umbrella's inferior power and decided to take over the very plan of Spencer himself started, with another pharmaceutical company as his base for inculcating the plan. Just then, Wesker's old enemies Chris and Jill entered Spencer's hiding place. They had been hunting Spencer and Wesker, the last Umbrella's leadership under the command of the BSAA, and were given a reliable tip to Spencer's whereabouts. They infiltrated the castle hoping that Spencer would lead them to Wesker, but instead found a dead Spencer with a smiling Wesker. The villain took a sudden arrival as a sign. The weak would always resist the will of the chosen. A battle immediately ensued. Using his powers, Wesker overcame the two of them combined, outmatching their gunfire and hand-to-hand skills. Tossing aside Jill after she failed to turn a knife on him, Wesker sought his revenge on Chris once and for all. However, before he could deal his finishing blow, Jill sacrificed herself by taking him out of the window, causing the two of them to fall into the chambers below. The BSAA searched for the bodies for months, but were never successful in recovering them, and the two were marked as deceased. In fact, the two survived, and Jill was captured by Wesker. After giving Jill a medical treatment she required, Wesker went back to his alliance with S.T.A.R.S. While putting Jill in a cybernetic sleep with intentions of turning her into a weapon against Chris, Wesker continued his activities. Wesker again worked with S.T.A.R.S. and formed a complete partnership with Celia, who shared his vision for a new world. Wesker prepared to exact his own performance of Wesker's plan. He continued to help Celia gain higher position of power with S.T.A.R.S., and she soon became the CEO of the entire African division. With this partnership, the old Umbrella African Research Center was reopened along with the source of the Porganta virus. Wesker used the founder of every single viral agent to create the most powerful virus yet, the Urbroso virus. With the Urbroso, he planned to spur next step in human evolution. Although the virus proved to be too poisonous for humans to be of much use, Wesker found a way to make it less poisonous. In Jill were powerful antibodies that were made from his previous infection with the T-virus. Using these antibodies, Wesker was able to perfect Ubroso to suit his needs. He also commissioned an immense trisol tank at the dock built behind the facility. He placed a specialized stealth bomber below the boat's deck, planning to launch it at sea as part of his plans. Using the newly discovered chemical called P-30, Wesker attached a device on Jill's chest that would continually inject Jill with the chemical. With this, he was able to bend Jill to his will and enhance her abilities. By doing this, not only would Jill continue to assist him and Tricell, but she would also serve as a method of revenge against Chris. At the same time, Wesker began placing Ubroso virus into missiles with the plan of releasing by jet into the Earth's atmosphere, causing a global outbreak. Exilia believed Wesker would be her king in the new world and she would be his queen. Wesker had other thoughts in mind. He saw himself as a god who would not share his power with no one. He pondered all he had accomplished and remembered back to his encounter with Spencer. Though he had killed his creator, Wesker thanked the dead Spencer, providing him with a great vision for the future and the means to be the god Spencer could never be. The mind-controlled Jill and the superhuman Wesker fought the pair of 2-on-2 battle where the tank was getting ready to leave, and after 7 minutes of his spare time, Wesker received a phone call from her. He abandoned the fight to finish his plans, leaving Chris and Shivra to deal with Jill. But Chris and Shivra were able to remove the device from Jill's chest and free her from Wesker's control. Leaving Jill at her assistance, they chased the two onto the carrier ship. Wesker would soon betray Exilia, infecting her with the Ubros, which killed her. After Chris and Shivra defeated the monstrosities that resulted, they received a call from Jill. According to Jill, Wesker needed to inject a special serum, PG67A/W, into himself in order to keep the virus inside him stable. If too much was injected, it would weaken him. Shiver confronted Wesker in a hangar below the deck which contained Wesker's bomber jet. Chris realized that Wesker intended to release Umbros into the atmosphere using this jet. As he engaged the two, Wesker revealed his plans to rule over the newly created world as a god. Working together, Chris and Shiva managed to insert the serum into Wesker, taking advantage of his darkness by turning off the lights around the platform. Weakened but not defeated, Wesker fled on board the jet, but Chris and Shiva managed to board it before it took off. In a tense battle, they fought Wesker as the jet continued to fly higher and higher in the sky. Tossing Chris aside, Wesker pulled out a hidden Beretta and shot at Shiva while she took cover behind the metal pillars. Chris shot at Wesker and he walked toward him, but Wesker, using his concentration and reflexes, dodged Chris' fire and shot at Shivra, at the same time gloating that his plans would soon create his new world. He then aimed the samurai edge at Chris, having saved the handgun after his time in S.T.A.R.S as a devious way to kill his former comrade. With the serum in hand, Chris and Shiva were now more evenly matched against Wesker, and he was injected by an enraged Chris, who said that he was just another one of Umbrella's leftovers. Chris managed to open the jet's underside hatch, causing the jet to lose pressure and crash inside an active volcano. With a chuckle, Wesker walked forward further while saying over, "I'm just getting started." He then turned to a damaged Ubroso missile and smashed into it with his fist. He then deliberately absorbed his creation and seemed to have a great deal of control over its infection of him. Wesker used Umbroso in a last-ditch effort to kill his nemesis, shrivel shards of metal, and before spreading to most of Wesker's upper body, giving him a large, deadly, tentacle-like appearance. Wesker attacked Chris and Shiva, all while engaging about a natural selection, superior DNA war of pestilence. Loathing of his current state of the human race, all of the demonstration that Wesker's calm, collective, and refined had been completely dissolved, along with the last of his sanity. Fight came to the last surveying platform center of the lava river. With a fell shout from Chris's name, Wesker jumped to the platform and prepared the final portion of his conflict. Wesker was then engaged in battle as both Shiver and Chris implied him on both parts of his weak points. However, despite his physical abilities granted by the virus, Wesker was held off by Chris's and Shiver's until the ground gave away under him, causing Wesker to fall into the lava. But while Wesker screamed in pain, a helicopter pilot by Jill and Josh Stone came in to rescue Chris and Shiver. They barely managed to climb the ladder Jill threw to them, as the ground under them also gave away and sank into the lava. When they were safely aboard, they locked down upon the sinking Wesker, who became enraged and shouted Chris's name for one last time, refusing to acknowledge his own mortality and obsessed with killing Chris. He used his tentacle to consume the left arm, grab hold of the helicopter and tugged at it in hopes of taking them with him. However, Chris and Shiva fired a pair of RPG-7 rockets at him as he screamed in rage and pain, destroying him completely. Although Wesker had died, he had left behind a legacy. At some point in his life, he met a female immigrant from Edonia in her early 20s whose last name was Mueller. They had a brief relationship and she eventually became pregnant with his child, but returned to her home in Edonia without telling Wesker of the fact. She soon gave birth to the future mercenary Jake Mueller, whose specialized blood type gave him protection against mutagenic pathogens such as the C-virus, being that Wesker immunity to viral infections had genetically been passed down to Jake.